on the basis of the comfort, hang on the basis of the comfort and dignity of girls and women, I'm asking you, telling you, please do not use women's spaces. It makes them feel uncomfortable.
My girls and the other women I am with are very comfortable with me in the bathroom.
Well, fortunately, I'm not your daughter, and my daughter is also not your daughter.
Oh, that's right.
And she
so
would
she
feel.
She
would feel very uncomfortable. No,
interrupt me.
No, you
excuse
interrupted me.
Excuse
you
me.
interrupted
I'm not
me.
here for a debate. Beth, do you mind?
Right.
I would ask you to please call off your dog.
I beg your pardon. And I'm asking you as a mother. I'm asking you as a mother. Do not use female spaces.
And I'm very uncomfortable.
It makes women and girls feel very uncomfortable.
As a mother,
you are not. How dare you?
As a mother, I am very.
All right, guys. So we finally have more swimmers that are speaking out against Lia Thomas following the NCAA Championships, in which Lia dominated the 500-yard swimming event, but subsequently lost the 200-yard and 100-yard event. Okay, now here's the thing. In my opinion, it shouldn't have come down to a national championship for people to actually see the light and to step up and to speak out about this. Okay, because the NCAA Championship featuring Lia Thomas should have never happened in the first place. Should have never happened in the first place. Okay, because it was clear when this Lia Thomas story started that this was unfair, right? And this is not something that we can have in sports. And the fact that these women haven't boycotted these events leading up to this is really beyond me. Okay, so in my opinion, it shouldn't have happened in the first place. However, I think seeing it on a national stage, this becoming a truly national news story, right? I think really has prompted some people to say, hey, you know what? We got to speak out about this, right? We have to actually put a name and a face behind the things we're saying, because up until now, basically, most people that have spoke out have been women on the team, allegedly, but they've done it in the shadows, okay? They haven't put a name in the face behind the things that they're saying, okay? It's been he said, she said, and there's been a whole lot of stuff that they've said, like, oh, for example, how they're uncomfortable with Lia's male genitals in the locker room, and a whole lot of stuff that they say about what's going on, okay? However, nobody cares, right? Or nobody can really do anything about it, or there's no real attention being brought to it because there's not a name and a face. Until there's a name and a face, it's just he said, she said, right? Obviously, it's not a great enough issue to you for you to actually put your face and your name behind it. That's the way people look at it. But now that seems to be changing. And again, it's a damn shame that it happened after the NCAA Championship. But I guess better late than never, but never late is always better. So with that being said, let's actually read about this Virginia Tech swimmer, Miss Reka Gyorgy, coming out and ripping the NCAA over their policy that allows Lia Thomas to compete against biological women, and how she feels like the final spot was taken away from her because of this policy. So let's talk about this. Reka Gyorgy, the Virginia Tech swimmer who missed out on competing in the finals of the 500 free at the NCAA Championships earlier in the week, took issue with NCAA rules allowing transgender women to compete against biological females. Gyorgy had missed the cutoff to get into the consolidation final in the 500 free. She finished in 17th place, and in the letter argued she missed out because of Lia Thomas' dominance in the race. The transgender University of Penn swimmer finished with a 4-minute 33.82 seconds in the preliminaries and later became a national champion when she won the race with a time of 4 minutes 33.24 seconds. She wrote a letter addressed to the NCAA and posted it on her private Instagram account Sunday. Quote, "With all due respect, I would like to address something that is a problem in our sport right now and hurting athletes, especially female swimmers," the letter read. "Everyone has heard and known about transgender swimmer Lia Thomas and her case, including all the issues and concerns that her situation brought into our sport. I'd like to point out that I respectfully and fully stand with Lia Thomas. I am convinced that she is no different than me or any other D1 swimmer who has woken up at 5 a.m. her entire life for morning practice." Okay, pause. Pause. Because if you have an issue with the policy, you don't come in here and say that Lia Thomas is no different than anybody else. You're undermining your argument because if she's not any different than you guys, then what is the point of the policy change? Okay, you have to flat out from the beginning admit that, hey, this is simply not fair. It is not fair because Lia Thomas is not the same. Okay, that is the argument that you have to make here. But let's read more. She has sacrificed family vacations and holidays for a competition. She has pushed herself to the limit to be the best athlete she could. She is doing what she is passionate about and deserves that light. On the other hand, I would like to critique the NCAA rules that allow her to compete against us who are biologically women. Okay, so this person put some fluff in the letter to try to make it seem like that she's not a bigot, right? Which, I kind of understand in today's society, right? But you can't say that Lia Thomas is no different and then turn around and say, well, I got some criticisms of the rules because Lia is in fact not the same, right? But regardless, I'm just glad this person is speaking out in general. I'm just saying I would have been more direct from the get-go in terms of what the issue is here. Quote, I am writing this letter right now in hopes that the NCAA will open their eyes and change these rules in the future. It doesn't promote our sport in a good way, and I think it is disrespectful against the biologically female swimmers who are competing in the NCAA. Gyorgy, a Hungarian who competed in the 200-meter backstroke at the 2016 Summer Games, explained it felt the last spot to get into the consolidation final was taken from her. Quote, I feel like the final spot was taken from me because of the NCAA's decision to let someone who is not a biological female compete, she wrote. I know you could say I had the opportunity to swim faster and make the top 16, but this situation makes it a bit different, and I can't help but be angry or sad. It hurts me, my team, and other women in the pool. One spot was taken away from a girl who got 9th in the 500 free and didn't make it back to the A final, preventing her from being an All-American. Every event that transgender athletes competed in was one spot taken away from biological females throughout the meet. Ding, 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 ding. And this is the argument that I made when Lia Thomas lost in the 100, actually came in last place, and came in 5th place in the 200. That even if they don't win, they're still taking a spot away from other women, okay? So it's still unfair, right? It doesn't matter whether or not they win. Just the idea that this person has an unfair advantage over other women, thus not allowing other women or disadvantaging other women when it comes to qualifying for this event. Again, that in and of itself is something that shouldn't be allowed, okay? It's not about them just coming in and dominating and winning first place. It's not what it's about. It's about the opportunities that they're taking away from other women. Not just when it comes to competing in these competitions, but also when it comes to scholarships and other things, right? Resources are scarce. If you're giving out scholarships for swimming and you're giving the scholarships to transgender women, biological males, that takes away scholarships and money from biological women, okay, who deserve those scholarships and want to attend university, right? Again, this stuff is bigger than just, transgender athletes coming in first place, right? That it's bigger than that, okay? Gyorgy added the NCAA knew this was coming this past week and wrote the media circus around the NCAA Championships this week put in the shadows the incredible performances from other competitors. Quote, it is a result of the NCAA and their lack of interest in protecting their athletes. I ask the NCAA takes time to think about all the other biological women in swimming, try to think how they feel if they would be in their shoes, make the right changes for our sport and for a better future in swimming, the letter concluded. The NCAA didn't immediately respond to Fox News Digital request for comment. Yeah, so the NCAA doesn't care about what biological women think, right? They don't care about that. What they care about is being woke and virtue signaling and making sure that they're not labeled as transphobic, right? They don't want to get corporately canceled, so to speak. They want to say, hey guys, we're so for diversity and inclusion and such and such and such, yada, 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 to the point where it doesn't even make sense, right? To the point where they are discriminating against the people that they claim that they're supposed to be for, right? You're supposed to be for women and promoting women, but yet allowing biological men to compete against biological women in sports, that's not promoting women, right? That's actually marginalizing women even more. But again, this is a result of what happens when you have this race to the bottom in regards to this whole victimhood competition, right? the group that seems to be the most victimized gets the most special privileges, and a lot of times that is at the expense of others who also are claiming to be marginalized. But in this case, hey, the woman is not at the top of the totem pole when it comes to victimhood status. So therefore, they have to suffer in a situation like this, okay? So I'm glad that this swimmer is speaking out. I hope more swimmers speak out, so this is something that is changed in the future. Lia Thomas is not swimming in the NCAA anymore. Maybe Leo was swimming in the Olympics. I don't know. So this probably won't be the last of this story, but it definitely won't be the last of transgender athletes competing at the NCAA level and dominating the competition and taking spots from other women who deserve those spots. Won't be the last of it. In fact, I fear that Lia Thomas and the silence on this situation will inspire others to do the same thing that Lia is doing. Because, hey, at the end of the day, if you can't be a champion competing as a man, why not just compete as a woman and be a champion, right? Have your name in the record book forever. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.